Greetings, hello, and welcome to a start of a brand new Project Zomboid adventure after our little trip through Clear Cove, or, well, it was a long trip through Clear Cove, which was mostly vanilla, outside of the map being a different map than the vanilla map. I decided to go a little bit wild with mods, so we have roughly 120 mods here in the mod list. From lots of different cars and weapons, and you see on the screen here just now a cooking mod, but also some things to change up the gameplay a little bit, give a little bit of more direction from the game. I would say Project Zomboid is a lot about setting your own goals, and this way I have some mods that give me something to do, even if it conflicts with whatever plan I had for that day. So first thing we're gonna change, which is actually outside of mods, is the fun and exciting helicopter event, which happens in a vanilla game, sometimes between 6 and 9 days into the run, is now set to appear sometimes, as in it will repeat every 10 to 14 days, I think, by the default settings. So that's something to keep me on my toes, but as you know from the game, you can listen to the radio to see if the helicopter is coming on any specific day, and then you are warned. Except if the radio station breaks. So there is this wonderful mod, Save Our Station, where the radio station broadcast can break down, and then your job, if you want to restore it to its working condition, you will have to find one of 5 radio stations that are spread around the map near the vanilla towns, and basically do a repair task there. You might have to bring some items, so the mod description is a little bit vague, but that's kind of, for you to then find out. It also doesn't tell you where exactly those stations are. You basically have to drive to Riverside or Rosewood or wherever and look around and see if you find a radio tower, and then do the repairs there in order to get it back to its status. The other thing that is gonna definitely change the late game, and now I actually need to look here, is the zombie virus vaccine mod, which basically gives you the option to research and investigate a cure for the zombie infection. So you can find new materials, new tools in order to build up a research lab. You do research, you autopsy zombie bodies, you gather materials, and at the end of the day, you might be able to discover a cure for the zombie virus. This is really, it's supposed to be a very lengthy process. I haven't really looked into it too much to not spoil anything, but I think this could be an interesting long-term goal. Instead of just, killing all the zombies and looting all the towns, saving humanity seems like a worthwhile endeavor. Another thing we're gonna do is we're gonna have runners. So basically sprinter zombies that run about at the same speed as the player runs. So I didn't want to go with full-on sprinters that outpace you unless you're sprinting yourself, but let's have some runners, but not generally everybody, but rather we have some random zombie settings where I set it up that 97% of all zombies will be the normal fast shamblers and 3% will be sprinters, or runners rather. And then in addition to that, there's a bunch of modded maps, and most importantly, modded maps that I personally haven't played in yet. Something like Tandil is a very new map that I've only seen on the workshop. Then there's, for example, Winchester is a huge map, or doesn't have a preview picture. A lot of maps I've only seen on the workshop, I haven't played on yet. So my goal is going to be to go specifically to those maps. So I'm not going to spend like 3 weeks in Riverside building a base, because I know the vanilla map like the back of my hand, so we're gonna have that basically as support there. But mostly it's gonna be about exploring these new maps, looking around, and finding a nice place to build your base, only to then have a radio failure and having to drive all across the map to find the station. So I think this is hopefully gonna add some things there. Then finally, there is a mod here, Simple Overhaul Traits and Occupations, which is anything but simple because it completely changes character traits, gives new professions, etc. So it gets me out of my comfort zone of always building the character the same way. So we're not gonna have an X-Wing lumberjack this time, and we'll actually go into the character settings in a few minutes here. By the way, this video, should have mentioned that at the start, is just going to be an overview of the mods, of the world settings, and of the character creation, and the actual gameplay is then going to be in the real episode 1. Alright, so much for mods. I have to say though, if anyone is interested in a mod list, it's going to be rough, because creating mod lists on Steam is a big pain in the butt. If you don't want to create a list from all the mods you have installed. Like I have in Project Zomboid like 400 mods installed, but only using 120 for this run. So picking those from your installed mods that are actually using to put them into a Steam collection is just not fun. That's like 4 hours of work. So unless I find an easy way to do this, that's probably not going to be an easily accessible mod list. Alright, then let's go to the custom sandbox. Custom sandbox settings. First of all, we also have pillows random spawns, so we're gonna spawn anywhere in Knox County. I did a test run and it spawned me in the Rosewood prison, so that was fun. I don't know where it's gonna put me out, so anywhere on the map, it's gonna be a completely random start. No idea where it's gonna be. Then let me load my preset here. So this is basically using Apocalypse preset with a few minor changes rather. As I said, helicopter is set to sometimes, so it's going to be every 10 to 15 days repeating. Actually, you know what? It's good. Change it to often. I think it's then every 6 to 9 days it's going to be repeating. So for a YouTube series, you know, every 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to have that reappearing. I hope that's not going to screw me over too much. Loot rarity, last time for Clear Cove, I set it all to extremely rare, which was the rarest setting last time around. I'm gonna leave it at rare. Even at extremely rare, we were having more than enough access and other tools and weapons, but it felt like the looting was super uninteresting because most buildings were kind of empty. So I'd rather find more stuff and get excited about loot than create an artificial shortage that doesn't actually exist. Yeah, that's my take on this. Then what else? Vehicles. I will actually, let me just adjust this also to normal. With so many nice vehicle mods, it would be a shame to then not have any vehicles show up in the map. So as I said, I did a test game. I spawned in the Rosewood prison, which has a huge parking lot. And there were like 3 cars there. So I'm gonna up this a little bit to normal. Sure, makes the game a little bit easier because vehicles are more available. I also set the condition up a little bit higher so you can actually work with vehicles. But that's just the way I like it. I like cars in this game. What else do we have? I think most of that we have minimap enabled. Everything else, I think world is all normal. Nature, I just reduced compost time. Population, character, this is all normal. Normal. Advanced zombie options. No respawn. We're going to start with a population of 1.5, which is basically what you normally max out on Apocalypse. And then a peak multiplier of 2, so 2.1.5. 3 times pop is the end result then, which is, I think, the similar setting that we had on Clear Cove, which I think is a happy medium, right? It's not super difficult, like, people on Twitch are playing on 16 times pop, which is fine, I think, for a live stream. I just think for a YouTube series, it's kind of boring. We have like 5 episodes of fighting down the same street because there's going to be tons of zombies. So rest is all normal. And then I'll random zombies. 3% sprinters, 97% fast shamblers, no crawlers, no slow shamblers, because I don't think that adds really anything. Oh yeah, and 10% of all zombies will be smart. Able to open doors and windows instead of just bashing against them. So yeah, that's gonna be a fun surprise. Then finally, we also have the better sound event mod. I talked about this in one of the last few episodes of the previous series, where like sound events happen and then you can actually find something at the source of the sound. I'm currently looking where my... So I have a mod added, which is called an XP tweaker, which kind of changes a little bit the XP gain rate for some professions. So I made it basically that things like mechanics and metalworking that are really slow to grind level up a little bit faster, because it's just tedious repetition otherwise, and it's not like those professions give you too much. So I think if I cut down that a little bit, it just saves me time, because that's the stuff I'm cutting out of the episodes anyway. So you're not missing out on anything, and I save a little bit of my valuable time that I have here on this planet. Okay. Character setup. So, as I mentioned, we have the simple overhaul for trades and occupations, which adds a bunch of new professions. From deliveryman, trucker, soldier, gravedigger, dancer, janitor, stuntman. You see it here. So there's a lot to go through, but I definitely, if you're playing Project Zomboid, give this mob a whirl. It's adding some new ways to play the game. And one thing I really enjoyed playing on a previous multiplayer server where this was active is the Demolition Worker, which comes with the wonderful perk Strong Grip. Can use sledgehammers more effectively in combat. Vanilla game sledgehammers are a terrible weapon. They swing slow, they eat through your stamina, and the Demolition Worker can actually use them reasonably well. They still have a fairly slow swing speed, and stamina use is reduced then with this Strong Grip perk, but it's just the attack animation, the sound effects of the sledgehammer, it's just so satisfying to play with that. So I had a ton of fun with that. Also, a lot of the perk points cost were changed. For example, you see strong and athletic costing 12 points instead of 10 in vanilla, and lots of other changes. This is also constantly being rebalanced, and some of those perks are not as much free points as they used to be. Like most of the time I play with the smoker perk. In this mod, it slightly increases endurance loss while running and fighting. You may cough when exhausted, so when you're fighting and you get the exertion moodle, suddenly your character starts coughing, which is basically like yelling, so probably the worst time where you want to draw in more zombies, and it happens. And in addition to that, some of the traits in this list can be gained or lost. Like if you abstain from smoking for a month, your character will feel miserable. but then you actually lose the smoker trait at some point. So you can lose this kind of stuff. Or you can gain something, like if you are... what is a good example here? I think if you move inventory stuff a lot, then you get dexterous at some point, or after a while, after killing 5,000 zombies, you become brave. I don't know the exact criteria. The mod itself in its description does have a Google Doc with all the exact criteria what you have to do. Anyway, long story long. Where is my demolitionist that I'm building here? So, I'm thin-skinned, disorganized, which is going to be fun. Liquid blood, so more bleeding damage when I'm actually injured. Slow healer, so really again going for the whole thin-skinned, liquid blood, slow healer. I hope I'm not getting hit idea, which worked out in Clear Cove, right? Conspicuous, so higher detection range, or not detection range, but more likely to be detected. High thirst, unlucky, clumsy, prone to illness, short-sighted, a snorer, which, you know, I hope we sleep in safe spots, with a weak stomach, and nyctophobic, which is fear of the dark. Gets panicked without light sources. Now, on the positive side, relentless, which is endurance recovery when swinging weapons, dexterous for faster inventory move speed, keen hearing, better perception radius around you, stout for +2 strength, not strong, but stout, plus +1 strength from demolition worker, plus +1 strength from brawler, comes out to 9 points of strength, which is basically the strong perk. Fast learner, faster XP gain, athletic for the +4 fitness, I like to start characters with 9 fitness, and then brawler here. Alright. And then it's just a matter of getting the run going. And I'll see you on the game map in a second.